we are in chapter 3 of Esther. So after these things, King Assur promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes who were with him. And the king's servants who were within the gates bowed and paid homage to Haman. And so the king had commanded, concerning him, but Mordecai would not bow or pay homage. Then the king's servants who were within the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you transgress the king's command?" Now it happened, when they spoke to him daily, he would not listen to them, that they told it to Haman to see whether Mordecai's words would stand. For Mordecai had told him that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow or pay him homage, Haman was filled with wrath. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had told him of the people of Mordecai. Instead, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews who were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, the people of Mordecai. In the first month, which is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pure. That is the lot. Say that in parentheses, right? So they cast lots in a way. So they cast pure before Haman to determine the day and the month until it fell on the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. I always think that that's a blessing because they had time, right? The furthest month it could be, if I'm understanding that correctly. Then Haman said to King Assur, "There is certain people scattered and dispersed among the people in all the province of your kingdom. Their laws are different from all the other people, and they do not keep the king's law. Therefore it is not fitting for the king to let them remain." Wow. Hold tight for 1 second. If it pleases, so we're back in verse 9. If it pleases the king, let a decree be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who do the work to bring it into the king's treasure. So Esther 3 we're in. So the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agite, the enemy of the Jews. Then the king said to Haman, "The money and the people are given to you to do with them as seems good to you." Then the king's scribe were called on the 13th day of the first month, and a decree was written according to all that Haman commanded, to the king's satraps, to the governors who were over each province, to the officials of all the people, to every province according to a script, and to every people in their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus it was written and sealed with the king's signet ring. Wow. And the letters were sent by courier into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, to annihilate all the Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, to plunder their possessions. A copy of the document was to be issued as law in every province, being published for all people, that they should be ready for that day. The couriers went out, hastened by the king's command, and the decree was proclaimed. Hi everyone. Hi. Thank you for joining me. The couriers went out, hastened by the king's command, and the decree was proclaimed in Susan, the citadel. So the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Shushan was perplexed. I appreciate the support. Thank you. All right, next page. Oh, and then we're on to Esther 4. So that was that verse 3. Should we continue? I think we should, right? So, chapter 4. When Mordecai learned all that had happened, he tore his clothes, because that was the plot, right? Sorry, everyone. We're back reading, thank you. He tore his clothes and put on the sackcloth and ashes and went into the midst of the city. He cried out with a loud and bitter cry. He went as far as the front of the king's gate, for no one might enter the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. In the province where the king commanded, and the decree arrived, there was mourning among the Jews with fasting, weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maids and eunuchs came and told her, and the queen was deeply distressed. Then she sent garments to clothe Mordecai, to take his sackcloth away from him, but he would not accept them. Then Esther called Hatra, one of the king's eunuchs, whom he had appointed to attend her, and gave him a command concerning Mordecai, to learn what and why this was. So Hatra went out to Mordecai in the city square and was in front of the king's gate. And Mordecai told him all that had happened to him, and the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay into the king's treasury to destroy the Jews. So he gave a copy of the written decree for their destruction, which was written at Shushan, that he might show it to Esther and explain to her, that he might command her to go to the king to make supplication to him and plead before him for her people. So Hadad returned and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Then Esther spoke to Hagar and gave him a command for Mordecai, and the king's servant and the people of the king's province know that any man or woman who goes into the inner court. Oh, it is like a Job, right? Let's see. And all the king's servants, verse 11, sorry. And all the king's servants and the people of the king's province know that any man or woman who goes into the inner court to the king, who has not been called, he has but one law, put to death, except one to whom the king holds out the golden scepter, that he may live. Yet I myself have not been called to go into the king the 30 days. So they told Mordecai Esther's words, and Mordecai told him to answer Esther, do not think in your heart that you will escape in the king's palace any more than any other Jews. For if you remain completely silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? And that's one verse that's quoted a lot. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? And do we know that we are where we're supposed to be at a time like this, right? God puts us in the place. And now in verse 15, then Esther told him to reply to Mordecai, go gather all the Jews who are present in Shushan and fast for me, neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will fast likewise, and so I will go to the king, which is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther commanded him. Wow. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow to see what happens. Lord bless you all, with the Lord's help for sure. Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And that's from blessings in number 6. Lord bless you, Amelia and Nisi. Sorry about the names, but thank you. I'm not totally sure, but I appreciate you joining me on the names. Forgive me. And Lord bless you. And God knows your name. And talk to you soon. Thank you.